Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. I would like to say thank you for coming to my presentation today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Syifa Auni Dhabitha. I am a medical student from University of Bengkulu. Today, we will discuss about investigation on the mental health status of pregnant women in China during the pandemic of COVID-19. Let me start the presentation. In this presentation, there are a 5 part of presentation. First, background. Second, aims. Third, material and methods. Fourth, result. And 5, conclusion. First, the background. Coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19, which has strong effectivity and severe pathogenesis, first broke out in Wuhan, China in December 2019 and has been a threat to the health of the people all over the world. Wuhan, the capital of the Hubei province, has close links with surrounding cities by countless traffic lines and has been considered the center of the first stage of the COVID-19 epidemic in China. On January 22, 2020, Wuhan locked down the entire city and adopted a series of strict restrictions to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. Restrictions included closing intercity transportation and intercity public transportation, restricting free access outside communities, and recommending everyone to stay at home. An epidemic may cause psychological pressure on pregnant women living in the epidemic area. From previous studies on severe acute respiratory syndromes or SARS, which is related to COVID-19, pregnant women were more likely to have an adverse pregnancy outcome when compared to women who were not pregnant. Therefore, it is thought that pregnant women are more susceptible to COVID-19 than the general population and deserve more attention. During the COVID-19 pandemic, a series of restrictions have been taken in China, especially in Wuhan, the center of the outbreak. Therefore, it may be difficult for pregnant women to receive routine obstetric examination, and the treatment pregnant women with COVID-19 may be complicated. Considering the above-mentioned factors, COVID-19 may likely affect the mental health of pregnant women. Until now, many other studies present conflicting conclusions about the overall increase or non-increase incidence of post-traumatic stress disorder caused by depression and different disaster. The study aimed to evaluate the anxiety and depression in pregnant women in China and its influencing factors during the coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 pandemic. Next, about the material and methods. There are 6 parts of material and methods. First is recruitment and participants. The main participants of this study were pregnant women in China to compare the mental health status of pregnant women in different regions within China during the COVID-19 pandemic. Questionnaires in Wuhan, other cities of the Hubei province, and other provinces in China were collected. This study was approved by the Medical Ethics Committee of Tongji Hospital, Tongji Medical College, Huazhong University of Science and Technology, Wuhan, China. Next, about the study design. In study design, there are 6 parts. First is questionnaires about mental health were designed and included questions about background of the pregnant woman, including age, educational background, current gestational weeks, themselves or family being infected by COVID-19, region, and living condition. And then pregnant volunteers were asked to finish the SAS scales or self-rating anxiety scale and SDS scales, self-rating depression scale based on the recent feeling. Both the SAS and SDA scale included 20 questions about psychotic emotional symptoms, psychomotor disturbance, somatic disorder, and mental disorder of anxiety or depression. For answering each question, volunteers select the option that best describes their mental state. And the questionnaires on mental health were issued through the online WeChat platform from February 22 to February 27. In addition, partial questionnaires were distributed by doctors working in the fever ward or fever clinic with a QR code to the workplace. Researchers introduced the significance of the survey and guided subjects to complete the questions that were difficult to understand. All subjects orally agreed to participate in the study before completing the questionnaire. There is no private information, such as name and street address that collected. In addition, no blood samples, tissues, cells, and other biological material were collected. For all subjects, the results were obtained after they completed questionnaire. All subjects were informed that their answer would be used for publishing purposes. And in total, 156 subjects agreed to participate in the study and finish the questionnaires, and all questionnaires were completed. Among them, there were 101 questionnaires from pregnant women in Wuhan, 26 questionnaires from other cities of the Hubei province, except Wuhan, and 26 questionnaires from other provinces in China, except Hubei. Furthermore, there were 11 cases of pregnant women with COVID-19, and one suspicious case was nucleic acid test was negative, but the CT lung screening showed a possible infection. Back to material and methods. The third is inclusion and exclusion criteria. Inclusion criteria were as follows. 1. Pregnant women in China. 2. Pregnant women who are willing to complete the survey. And 3. Pregnant women who agreed to participate in this study. And then exclusion criteria were as follows. Women who were not pregnant, and women who had a spontaneous abortion or embryonic abortion during the time of the study, pregnancy with severe complication, and women who were diagnosed with a mental illness before pregnancy. The fourth is outcome measures. The main outcome measure of the study included the SAS and SDS score. If the SAS or SDS score was less than or equal to 50, the volunteer will be defined as normal. The secondary outcome measure included age, educational background, region, and gestational week. Next, about sample size calculation. In the previous study, it was shown that the incidence of anxiety and depression in Chinese women during pregnancy was 10% and 3.5% respectively. A 10% increase in the incidence of anxiety and depression during pregnancy was defined as a significant increase in the probability of anxiety or depression during the COVID-19. The sample size of anxiety and depression were calculated separately, and the large size was taken as the sample size for this study. The calculated sample size was 95. Therefore, and considering that about 5% of questionnaires may be invalid, a total of 100 questionnaires were collected from pregnant women in Wuhan. Furthermore, 25 questionnaires from non-Wuhan cities in the Hubei province and 25 questionnaires from non-Hubei province served as a control. And it's about the statistical methods. Data was analyzed by SPSS 25 software. Categorical variables were presented, and frequencies and continuous variables that show a normal distribution were presented as the mean HD. When compared, paired sample t-test, ANOVA, or Mann-Whitney u-test was used to analyze the continuous indexes, and the less were two-sided, and the C-square test was used to analyze categorical variables. And this is the result of this study. As you can see in the table of the comparison of mental health of pregnant women with or without COVID-19, there were 79 cases or of pregnant women with psychological health problem, of which 13 suffered from anxiety, 79 patients suffered from depression, and 13 suffered from both anxiety and depression. The SAS score of the 156 subjects was about 15, and the SDS score was about 50. For the SAS score, 91% of the subjects were healthy individuals, while about 8% of the subject were in a stage of light anxiety. In the SDS score, about 46% of the subjects were healthy individuals. 23 of patients suffered from a mild depression, 22 of patients suffered from a moderate depression, and 4% of patients suffered from a severe depression. In the next table of the comparison of mental health of pregnant women in Wuhan and non-Wuhan regions, pregnant women in Wuhan didn't experience more severe anxiety or depression compared to pregnant women in non-Wuhan regions. There is the conclusion of this study. It is generally thought that anxiety and depression are closely related, and many factors that can cause anxiety may also cause depression. In terms of socio-psychological factors, stress and social support are the two factors with the greatest impact on pregnant women. The occurrence of anxiety and depression in pregnant women is significantly related to stress, and pregnant women with a low social support system are more likely to develop anxiety and depression during pregnancy. Therefore, in conclusion, it's speculated that the transparent information, stable epidemic situation, and increased social support may not increase the threat of violent behavior of pregnant women with COVID-19, which may be the reason that the anxiety of pregnant women didn't significantly increase during the epidemic. In contrast, measures of shelter in place cause pregnant women to have to live at home or be isolated during the epidemic. They were unable to undergo obstetric examination and attend many social activities. The above mentioned challenge may reduce engagement in reward-seeking behavior and be the reason that pregnant women suffer from a severe depression during the pandemic. Okay, it is the final of this presentation. As you can see, there is a search where I get the article. This is the article from Dong et al. And published in 2021. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.